do you have a comparison there of like how you would define the difference between happiness and joy?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, I think that happiness is fleeting. It's kind of a feeling. And I think that joy comes from God. I think it comes from deep within you. And I think a lot of times, I remember before I wrote my book, my dad, I was real excited. I was about to go on the Today Show, and then I got a call. The Doctors TV wanted to have me on, and then Hallmark, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I'm going to be on, the Today Show. And I thought my dad would be like, oh, that's amazing. Congratulations. And he just said, don't forget to enjoy the journey.
Well, welcome to the podcast. Nathan Newberry here, your host. I have Amberly Lago here joining us on the podcast. We're going to be going into her life and her story just in a minute. You're going to hear from her amazing story about really sparking joy in her life and really diving that in, and hearing about her book launch that's happening today, of all places, at least when we're recording this. You guys are going to be able to have that experience, to have that connection, to get to know her and her story. But before that, I write down below in the show notes, there's a free training I want to give everybody about how to build a brand online. Many people struggle with knowing how to do sales. They need to know how to run ads to get consistent leads coming through. And I put a whole workshop training down below for you to grab. Check that training out. It's my gift, free to you. Diving into the podcast here, Amberly, thank you for joining. I want to ask you this question. I ask everybody, but what is high performance? What does that look like? What's your definition, the way you see it?
The way I see it, and I've learned many lessons on this lately, is being at your best mentally, spiritually, and physically. To me, if you are a high performer, you're taking care of your health. And, for a long time, my health was not doing so great. I mean, I've had 34 surgeries and they saved my leg from amputation. But at the same time, living with something called complex regional pain syndrome, and it's dubbed the suicide disease, I was told I'd never walk again and never work again. And that's not the vision I have for me. I want to be a high performer. And so I travel, I get to speak all over the world, and able for me to do that, I really have to take care of myself. Not just one thing, not just moving my body, but it's really creating a life that you don't want to escape from, and taking care of yourself in every way, mentally, physically, spiritually. I mean, I even had a nurse over here earlier today because I was getting an IV treatment because I just got back in town. I had 5 speaking events last week, and I'm not going to lie, I start to feel a little run down. And so I know it's time to call the nurse, get my good dose of vitamins, try to focus on sleep, feeding myself. And I always remember HALT, meaning never get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, or you won't be able to be much of a high performer. And you definitely, for me, I won't be able to spark any joy. So HALT. Yeah.
I've never heard of that one, but I like that. I think that's a good way of an acronym to think about your life and prioritizing that, because more often than not, especially as a speaker, you give so much. And it's like, it's hard to like re-examine yourself and take a pulse of like, hey, where's my energy? Where's my mind at? Where's my soul at?
Well, it was so funny. So I just got an email that Forbes, we wanted to kind of see if they were interested in Joy Through the Journey, the new book. And they're like, no, but I see that, you travel all the time, and we would like to feature you in Forbes for your travels, and like, what luggage do you use, and the food that you eat, and where do you stay? And I laughed because I was like, oh, it's not that glamorous. When I was like, sure, I can share what I eat, but when I'm on the road speaking, there's usually not even time to actually eat a meal during the day when I'm at an event, because you are so present, you're so in it. So, I take beef sticks and protein bars and nuts and my own protein powder. And then I order room service and I order so much food and eat like a caveman with my hands because I'm so hungry. But yeah, I thought that was so funny. Yeah, but you are on your feet a lot. You are connecting, you're on. And I think that, a good friend of mine, she said, I'd ended up in the emergency room 6 times in 1 year for infections. And a good friend of mine said, Amberly, your impact is only as strong as you are healthy. And that really hit home.
So true.
I was so focused on taking care of other people. And first, we have to take care of ourselves so we can take care of other people. But when I looked at it that way, that it was, okay, so I can take care, help other people, empower them, inspire them, then it made sense.
Now, tell everybody who you serve and how you help people, because you're an author, you're a speaker, you're a coach, you have masterminds and mentor programs. Like, talk to us a little bit about like how you serve people on a large level.
Well, I love actually my mastermind's called Unstoppable Life Mastermind, and it's for female entrepreneurs. I love you fellas. I have some guys that I coach one-on-one, but the mastermind is for women. And it's really, I help them to put together their talk. So I teach them how to give a keynote, whether it's, a TED style talk and it's like a 14-minute talk, or an actual keynote, 45 minutes all the way to an hour and a half. The simple formula, teach them how to start their podcast, teach them how to start getting writing on their book and what that looks like. Is it going to be a self-published book, traditional publishing, or hybrid publishing? Because I really want to see more females step into their power, speaking on more stages, sharing their message. And so I love the work I do because I get to see them just, start sharing on social media. And then I give them a stage at the end. And so this year we're doing our event in April, and I've got Trent Shelton and Renee. Do you know Trent Shelton?
I've heard of the name before.
Oh, he's amazing. And then Renee Rodriguez, do you know him?
It sounds familiar too.
He's amazing. We have several speakers, and then I put my mastermind members on stage. And sometimes that's all you need, is that one chance to get on stage and say, here I am on stage being a speaker, and here's my sizzle reel, and I shared the stage with this person. And so I don't want to just teach them. I want to give them a platform to share their message as well. That's
so cool. I mean, you're teaching them and giving them a place to help share that story. I think that's super helpful. Now, let's go back, though, at the very beginning of all this. You're teaching so many people doing so many things like this, but tell us the origin story of Amberly. Where did this all begin?
Well, I definitely was not doing anything like this. Everything changed about, it'll be 15 years ago. I had a very successful fitness career. I was in the fitness industry for 26 years, and everything changed when I got hit by an SUV while I was riding my motorcycle. And my femoral artery was severed, in the hospital for months. I was in a coma. When I woke up out of a coma, they said, we're so sorry, we're going to have to amputate your leg. Well, me being a professional dancer and then in the fitness industry, I was sponsored by Nike. I was doing fitness videos, infomercials. I was on vitamin labels, and to be told they're going to cut your leg off, and I was like, what? They said, you have a 1% chance of saving it. So I hung on to that 1%, and it took months, but they were able to finally, save my leg piece by piece, put it back together. Amazing. And I was out of work for a year and a half. I was the main breadwinner of the family. I had $2.9 million worth of medical expenses. We had a lien on our house. And after being diagnosed with an incurable nerve disease as a result of the accident, I was told that I would never be able to walk again and I would never work again. I'd be permanently disabled. And that is just not the vision that I had for myself. And I share that because I think that we are not defined by our circumstances, but we are defined by our resilience. And then we get to choose to have a life of joy. And it just means, deciding to step forward and move forward, even if it's baby steps, to continue to move forward and spark joy so you can have the life that you've always imagined.
Were you always this wired? And really, is this an upbringing thing? I think people want to know, like, why are you so driven for success, even before your tragic accident? Like, were you always like just gung ho, like I'm going to make a dent in the world with helping people?
I really think so. I really, I didn't have the easiest childhood by any means, which most of us don't, but every hard thing that I went through as a child, it taught me grit, and it taught me that I was capable of having the life that I want if I'm willing to do the work and put the work in. My grandfather, I remember him saying, you've got a shovel in your hand, you can lean on it and pray for a hole, or you can start digging. And so I always prayed, but I knew that if I wanted anything in life, I was going to have to work hard for it. And so I think that being an athlete as a kid really helped me with the mindset. I think being a dancer really helped me. And, Angela Duckworth says that grit is the key predictor in success. It's not how good looking you are, how much money you have. It's not, where you come from. It doesn't matter, what nationality you are. It's your ability to work hard for long periods of time. And so I always kind of prided myself on the fact that, I've got grit. I'm not the smartest, but I can just outstudy everybody. I'm not the fastest, but I will train and condition myself more than anybody else. I will stay at the dance studio later, get there earlier, and I had a lot of misconceptions about grit. And I learned when I was recovering from surgery after surgery, and I was pushing and pushing, and I was just gritting it out, I was slowly killing myself. And what I learned is all these misconceptions. Like, I mistook health scares for heroic acts, and sacrifice for success, and stubbornness for strength, and fear for function. And I called this grit and convinced myself it was good until I was on the brink of burnout. I found myself in the hospital yet again. This time I was in ICU. And the doctor came in and said, if you would have waited one more day, you would have been dead. And I thought, here I am. I've survived this horrific accident only to slowly be killing myself. And so that was one of the inspirations for writing this book, of all the hard lessons I've learned, the embarrassing things, the shameful things, and how I've been able to shine a light on those things, learn a lesson from it, and give you the actionable steps in which you can, really embrace the present moment and strengthen your resilience and be able to shift your mindset. And so, I mean, I'm continually learning, but I'm really hoping that, I got it since my book just hit shelves today. I'm starting to get messages from people who got their book early. They got it a day earlier. They got it delivered. And the messages that I'm already starting to get in, it just, as an author, it's kind of been like an emotional day, because I've been able to kind of exhale and go, it is helping somebody. Somebody is getting that, And so, yeah, I've been super emotional today.
I can imagine. I can only imagine it being tough with emotions, like trying to go through everything that you're doing and then get out on the other side of it like you are now. And there's little hurdles after little hurdles that you're dealing with. And that's just growth too. I mean, there's the ceilings of things, that the challenges we thought we had in junior high, it can't even compare to the weight and responsibilities that we have now in life, right? But I love the joy part, Amberly, because I think they're like, hey, everybody's shooting to be happy, right? be
Mm-hmm.
happy, like, follow your heart, and I just hate all these like coined things that aren't really necessarily there. And I do remember, because I'm a Christian, and Paul in the Bible talks about have joy almost as a command, because people go through hard things and there's a struggle in life. Do you have a comparison there of like how you would define the difference between happiness and joy?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, I think that happiness is fleeting. It's kind of a feeling. And I think that joy comes from God. I think it comes from deep within you. And I think a lot of times, I remember before I wrote my book, my dad, I was real excited. I was about to go on the Today Show, and then I got a call. The Doctors TV wanted to have me on, and then Hallmark. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I'm going to be on, the Today Show. And I thought my dad would be like, oh, that's amazing. Congratulations. And he just said, don't forget to enjoy the journey.
Mm.
And that really put me in a moment of pause and reflection about, and how important it is to really stop and kind of soak it in a little bit. And one of my good friends, Henry Amar, I don't know if you know him. He's amazing. He's got a podcast too. But he messaged me first thing, and he was like, just praying for you. It's book launch day, and I just hope you take a moment to celebrate and really, enjoy the moment today.
Mm.
And so it's just, I think there's a difference. I think sometimes people think, oh, well, I'll be happy when, or I'll have joy when I get the job, or I reach the destination, or I marry that guy, or I marry that girl, or I make all that money, or when. But really, it's about choosing joy in the present moment by, embracing gratitude and embracing your purpose. And that's how you truly spark more joy.
Is there a ritual you do that you suggest our listeners here? Is it, people have like things where it's like when I get in the car, or when I read the Bible in the morning, or prayer beads, or is there like something that kind of stops you in your tracks and you're just like, hey, I got to think about, let's be present?
Oh, yeah. Well, I have the Serenity Prayer on a plaque over on the wall. And let me tell you, that Serenity Prayer, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That helps with just about anything and everything, I think. But I think I would say the quickest and easiest way to shift your mindset to feel better about your circumstances, whatever you're going through, immediately is to focus on gratitude.
Mm.
And I know that might seem simple, but I'm in constant chronic pain every single day. And pain it can suck the life out of you. It can affect your mindset, your mentality. And so the minute I wake up in the morning, sometimes the pain wakes me up. Sometimes I'm already in pain. Sometimes it's with the first step I take. And I could easily have that inner critic, that inner bully saying, see, Amberly, you can't even walk without a limp today. Maybe you should just give up. Who do you think you are? Like, it goes down just into negativity, and people think I'm the most positive person, and I actually work at it. And so I think gratitude is alchemy. It really shifts the way you feel, and it changes what you can't do into what you can do, and what you don't have into what you do have. So I think it's important to have a joyful ritual, and that's different for me than it is for you. There might be some things that are the same, but really pause and ask yourself, what brings you joy? For me, it is listening to gospel music on the way to the gym and rocking out to AC/DC when I'm inside the gym working out. It's time in nature. It is noticing the sunrise or the sunset. It is the best puppy kisses. My husband got me an early birthday present. So we have a cute little puppy. I think I'm going to name her Nugget because she's just a little nugget of joy. But I think it's important to really find the things that bring you joy and make sure you're incorporating those things into your day. And then really to, when I was on the brink of like burnout, and I talk about this in the book, it was because I was doing Zoom marathons. There was one day I was on Zoom for 12 hours straight, and I'm kind of even embarrassed to say that, but 12 hours straight, I would give myself a quick minute to run to the bathroom and come back. And sometimes not even that. I would go, I haven't used the bathroom. I need to go take a break to use the bathroom. That's not serving at my best if I'm doing that, And so I think it's important to think about what energizes you and what drains you, including people that you have in your life.
How often do you take stock of this? Because I want to get your perspective on it. We have a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs here, and it's like the hustle grind mindset. It's like, I'll enjoy things when I get to X, Y, Z. And the finish line is the place that they have destined in their journey of saying, that's when I'm going to have joy, instead of being present. And being obsessed, the way that we're all wired, it seems like everybody that's listening to this, the way I'm wired, the way you're wired, is that it's just like you go, and you never pause to reflect. How often do you take stock of this, of like looking at, your life, your calendar, your circumstances, the people you surround with that you're talking about, just like trying to say, hey, what's bringing the best person to the front, bringing me joy? And then really kind of how often, or how do you look at taking stock and account of that?
Well, because I'm stubborn, stubbornness can be a little good for developing some grit, but as long as I tend to overdo that. And so I am grateful I have good people around me that will say, Amberly, like, you're starting to crash again. Do you need to have the nurse come over and give you an IV treatment? Like, you cannot let your health decline. You've got more travels coming up. And so for me, I have to take kind of inventory of what I'm doing. Well, I definitely do every week. But I always know my day to day. And now I am old school. Like, I love the calendar on the computer, but I have a calendar where everything is highlighted, circled, written out. And I know that I've learned that doing so many speaking events back to back to back, I don't really typically like to do more than one keynote in a day because I put so much energy and effort into a keynote. But I didn't know that until I did it. I like to do no more than like 3 interviews a day because I want to give 100% of my energy to each and every interview. And so when you were saying you do back-to-back interviews, I'm like, what is your cap? How many do you usually do a day?
I have a mentor telling me I need to do 6 days out of the month and do like 10 in 6 days.
Oh, 10 in 6 days.
I do 4 days a week. So it's like 3 to 4, maybe max a day.
That's the max I have is 3.
Yeah. And I think you pace that. I mean, I did a lot more at one point, but just like that's to have energy, to be focused and not be like sitting here looking at a screen and having a conversation with people. You kind of go in and out and lose your mind a little bit. But yeah, I totally. So I gauge that. Totally get that. Do you have an assistant that helps you manage your calendar too? Is that how you've been able to?
She has been amazing. Game changer. I mean, it's the first time ever I've had somebody help me with my calendar, and she holds me accountable to it. Yeah. And remember one day I was trying to add something on my Calendly link, and I'm like, why will it not let me add these times on my Calendly link? And it was because My assistant went in and she blocked off those times. Like, she has blocked off my calendar every day from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. That's my time. Administrative time, times where I am going to do podcast interviews. I mean, it's been a game changer. And so I highly suggest that you just block off time, because I'm the kind of person that I'll just keep filling my calendar, and I look and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have 5 events this week, and they're in all different cities, and how am I going to make that, And so I think it's really important to be discerning and really do something that aligns with your vision, that energizes you, that really brings you more joy.
Yeah. How much of learning incorporates in your calendar? Because I know many times people are obsessed with learning new skills or new things. How often do you do that?
Oh, I think it's very important to keep learning. I think it's powerful when you can be with, a mentor or coach or mastermind. And look, I've got a mastermind and I'm in 2 different masterminds.
Yeah.
I'm a mentor, and I mentor people, and I have a mentor. I'm a coach, and I always have a coach. So I think it's really important, because everything that I learn, I can then go teach the people that are in my mastermind.
Yeah. I think people miss that. I think there's some people that invest in themselves, and then some people that just have never done it. And if anybody's on the cusp of it, you need to do it. It's the best prescription for sure to lean in, to grow. And go check out Amberly's connection too. I think people will really thrive with everything that she's doing over there.
Well, thank you. And I think it's important to get in the room too. Like, I don't think a lot of people understand how life-changing it can be when you actually get in the room, go to an event, get to meet people that are like-minded. That's where connections are made, friendships are made. And you might be going to an event because you're thinking, I'm going to go to that event because I want to meet Trent Shelton. And then you might meet somebody in the bathroom or the hallway that becomes a business partner, or, you do a podcast swap, or you just never know. So I think it's powerful to get in the room.
Yeah. Many times though, I want to get your opinion on this. It's like relationship building, networking, connection. You can have a lot of shallow relationships, and then you have deep relationships, and I remember, sitting down with my wife, and we kind of like drew a circle of like, hey, Jesus had, his 12 disciples. And then from there, he had hundreds of people. And then he had his inner circle with 3. And I was like, what this quarter, this year, how can we take stock of who's going to be in our inner circles and not? Right. How do you though go about it? Because you meet so many people, you do so many speaking engagements, you have so many students. Like, how do you care for the people in your world, and how do you do this tactically? Is this a CRM? Is this how do you go about really kind of being the best Amberly in front of people and remembering everybody?
Well, it's, I just always feel so blessed when I meet somebody and they're like, oh, we saw your, my other dog who recently passed away. Her name was Goldie, and she was always in my stories. And my daughter's horse is always in our stories. And when I meet people and they know my dog's name or our horse's name, or, my family's name, my daughter's, my husband, and so those relationships do mean a lot to me. But I think that there's only so much time, and we only have so much bandwidth. And so I think having an inner circle is powerful. And that top tier of my mastermind is my inner circle. And it's a small group of women, and we talk every day. I mean, through our community chat. And it's important that we all know what's going on in each other's lives. It's not just work related. It's like, if someone isn't well or their husband's in the hospital or whatever it may be, we can support each other. But then I think it's important to have those friends that, you can talk to, that get what you're going through, And so relationships are, I think, I think success is built on relationships. And so it's really, really important who you have in your circle.
Yeah.
Are they in alignment with your same values? That's important to me. And that's anybody that is, on my team, anybody that I work with. Like, it's super important to have maybe not the exact same values listed out, but very similar values, and that we're in alignment.
How do you balance prioritizing those relationships? Because, you have kids, and so it's like sometimes your obsession takes over so much so that it just like it runs your kids over in a way. And then you realize afterward, like, oh, I didn't really take stock of this or plan this right.
Yeah. And I'm not perfect at this by any means. And I think that we have different seasons, that are busy and where we need to, like, right now, I'm in it. Like, I'm in the middle of it. This big launch, and gearing up for a book launch is like, it's a lot. And when I first told my husband that I got a book deal, he was like, oh no, when are you going to have time to do that? So he's like, he's retired. And I think he's like, that's enough, Amber. You don't have to do so much. You can slow down. But I feel like, this journey that I'm on, really, it's turned pain into purpose for me.
There you go.
And so I love what I get to do. But I learned a really valuable lesson from my teenage daughter, actually. So I came out of my office, my home office, and I was on my phone, and I was just typing up an email on my phone, and she asked me a question, and I said, oh, well, just a minute. Let me get back to this email really quick. And she said, well, if you're still working, why don't you go back into your office? And I was like, oh, so they know when I'm in my office and the door's shut that I'm working. But when I'm at the barn and I'm with my daughter watching her ride, I am there not to answer email, but to video her riding her horse, to help her groom her horse, to just be in it. If I'm at dinner, we're having dinner and I'm not on my phone. And so, I mean, of course, like I said, I'm not perfect at this. I mess up. But I really try to be where my feet are, be really present where I am.
Mm-hmm. With what you've been able to accomplish, you're an author, you're a speaker, you have all these things. What do you feel like has contributed most to the growth that you've had online and on stage and, selling your books and masterminds?
I think that it's just I think you're going to connect with people more and really find who you need to connect with online in life when you are being authentically yourself. You're not trying to be like somebody else. You are being you. I know that for me, the thing I get the most is, oh, you're down to earth, or you're exactly like I thought you would be, you know what I mean? And it's like, if you're just being you and you're not pretending to be something else, then it's easy. I think that after my accident, I never was a partier, or, I was busy working. And because I couldn't get rid of the pain, I'd had all these different surgeries and treatments and Eastern, Western medicine. Nothing was working. And I started drinking and I became an alcoholic. And by the grace of God, I got sober in 2016 and started getting my life back. But something in recover, I've always felt like I was a pretty honest person, but you have to be radically honest in recovery, radically honest with yourself, with your sponsor, if you want to stay sober, if you want to keep your sobriety. And so I think that's helped me just because I don't know any other way other than just to keep it real. Like, isn't it all life a little easier if you just tell the truth?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not easy for people to do, especially so many times that people have this online persona. And the fact that you're just being you, I think, is what carries the fake things that are online these days. Right. And so I think that goes a long, long way. Like your book that's releasing, talk to us real quick about that and where people can find your book now.
Yeah, I think the easiest is to go to Amazon. You can find it at any of your local bookstores. It's called Joy Through the Journey. Shift your mindset, embrace the present moment, and cultivate resilience amidst life's ups and downs. And I'm super excited. If you go to go.amberlylago.com/joy, you can get some goodies. I've put some downloadable things as well as some other offers when you pre-order. Although the book is coming out now, you could still order it and get those pre-order goodies. Yeah.
I'll put that link down below for everybody. How else can people connect with you further?
Well, I think we should show you some love and tag me on Amberly Lago Motivation on Instagram, tag Nathan. And when I see that, I always share it in my story. So, take a picture, whatever platform you're listening on this and tag me, reach out to me. You can shoot me over a DM. That's me getting back to you. So sometimes it takes me a little bit, going to keep it real with you, but it's me getting back to you and I'd love to hear from you. So anyway, thank you so much for having me on.
Of course. So glad that you were able to join us and share your story. I'll put all those links down below for everybody to connect with Amberly. And if you need more help building an online presence like Amberly has, and so many of the guests that we have here on the podcast, and you need help with sales and with marketing and really how to grow, down below in that show notes again before you leave, check out that free training that I have down below. Thank you for listening in, and we'll see you on the next episode.